How is Terry McLaurin's contract holdout related to the next star that the Commanders are looking to sign? Are there indications that McLaurin's holdout will end soon? And why is this draft class arguably the most important the Commanders will have for the next 10 years? Hello everyone and welcome back to the Full Command Show. My name is Grant Mitchell and we're here to talk about everything involving the Washington Commanders. As always, guys, your support on the recent videos has been blowing my mind. Now, we've got some really big topics lined up today, but before we do get into them, a very quick reminder, if you are new to this channel, please hit the subscribe button. You are joining not just me, you're not just getting more videos, but you're joining a community that is pretty positive and pretty intelligent from what I can judge in the comment section. I really enjoy reading all of you guys' comments. I try to respond to everybody. If I don't, just know that I have seen it and I do appreciate it. Whether you agree with me, whether you disagree with me, it doesn't matter because disagreement is what pushes us forward. And if we agree, then hey, birds of a feather fly together. Again, if you are new, please join the community. We are growing very fast. If you want to help me out, hit that like button as well. It helps push this video out into the YouTube algorithms. And as we go through this video, whether it's my opinion, whether it's a fact that I'm reporting on, go to the comment section, give me your opinion and your feedback so that we can create those conversations, which again are the backbone. They're the entire point of this channel. Some housekeeping things, couple things to address here. Number one, someone asked me, why don't you have more Commander stuff in your background? You know, you got the little, I don't even know what you want to call this, a little sign right here. That's basically, there's a little keychain up there. I don't even think you can see it. To answer the question, I work in the sports industry for my job, and no, I don't just cover the Commanders. I cover every NFL team, and I also do NBA stuff and talking about soccer sometimes. I'm all over the place, basically. So I had to create a background that was not fully biased. I mean, the Virginia Tech thing, sure, there, but like, I have a scarf from when I was in London. I was at the Manchester Derby. That's Man U on one side, Man City on the other, and those teams hate each other. Like I had a Luka Doncic bobblehead here from when he was with the Dallas Mavericks. But to answer the question again, I wanted to create a relatively neutral background. But with that being said, make you guys a deal. We get this channel to 1,000 subscribers, and sometime next week, I will do a makeover. Because I am a big Commanders fan. I have Commanders paraphernalia and memorabilia lying around the house. Might take a little bit, just reconfiguration to get everything taken down and set back up, but I will do it because I do owe it to you guys to create the most important or the best product possible, and your guys' support has just been ridiculous. So you absolutely deserve it. That's number one. Number two, hopefully next week, I don't know if I'll publish it next week, but hopefully I will be recording a video with a very intelligent and I don't even know what words I want to, just someone who's very interesting guy, very analytical guy, very intelligent guy. He's a member of the Eagles community. Now, hold your tomatoes. Don't throw them at the screen. I'm not bringing him on so that we can do a Stephen A. Smith first take style screaming match at each other about why Jaden Daniels is better than Jalen Hurts, even though I'm sure he knows that's true. Because again, he's intelligent, so he would know that. Now, I'm only joking. I'm bringing him on because I thought it would be cool to have a championship edition of the show. I've talked in the past about getting members of rival teams on, maybe even have a Giants, Cowboys, Commanders, Eagles representative all on the same show at the same time. And the conversations that will be birthed from that, I think, could be very interesting. Because yes, you're coming here as a Commanders fan, most likely, and you're looking for the Commanders' perspective. But what an Eagles fan thinks of the Commanders could shape the way that we evaluate ourselves. You know, if we talk about, let's just say our weakness is linebackers, and they say, actually, I think it's your DBs, and it's this particular coverage and scheme. That's where we exploited you guys last year. It's like, maybe we should think about that moving forward. But it's going to be a very cool show. Again, we're hoping to get it recorded this week and try to have it out within the next week and a half, 2 weeks. We're going to be talking about things such as, what does he believe has been the Commanders' biggest source of improvement over the offseason? What were some of the reasons that he felt the Eagles were able to dominate the championship game the way they did? What is he concerned about that the Commanders are building over here? We're going to go over that and a whole bunch of stuff. It should be a very cool episode, so I do encourage you guys to check that out when it goes live. And I am protecting his identity because I don't want to spoil it, but again, someone very cool, very influential, very intelligent, and hopefully it'll make a very cool product for you guys and for me too, because like I want to talk to the guy. It'll be our first time collaborating, and I think it would be a blast. Okay, so I believe that covers everything. So let's get into the video here again today, and let's talk about the big news, which is the Terry McLaurin holdout saga has continued. Now, there's an update on that, which I'm going to get to in about 5 to 10 minutes or so. But first, I want to start by answering the question a lot of people have posed, which is why can't the Commanders just go ahead and give McLaurin whatever he wants within reason? We're not talking $50 million a year, but like, why can't they give him $30 million annually? Why can't they give him 33, 35? He owes it. He's owed it from the way that he's represented himself and the team and the fan base. He's put in the performances. He's one of the most available players in the league. He rarely ever gets injured. The best ability is availability. Set the franchise record in touchdowns last year. You kind of know that you can't really win the Super Bowl without him this year. In the future, that's a different story. But this particular year, you can't win it without him, most likely. Well, the biggest reason is it's not Terry. And because most of us aren't millionaires ourselves, we look at the difference between $28 to $30 million. It's like, oh, who even cares about that? Even $25 million to $32.5 million, which is reportedly what the Commanders are offering versus what McLaurin is demanding. It's like, well, why can't you guys just agree? Come on, let's get this sorted. It's not that easy. Obviously, there are things like average annual value, guarantee, fully guaranteed, which is actually different than guaranteed money, years of the contract, incentives, workout bonuses, all that. But the biggest reason is that the Commanders' cap situation moving forward the next couple of years is one of the most intriguing in the entire NFL. Because in 2026, they have $74 million in cap space. That's the fifth most in the league. But they also only have 45 players under contract, which is the fewest. In 2027, they have $288 million in cap space, which is the fourth most, but their 33 players under contract is the third fewest. So there's going to be a constant refiguration and retooling of this roster as they look to truly assemble those core pieces. And it's not a bad thing to have a higher roster turnover, but to consistently be in that bottom three for fewest players under the roster, yeah, it's going to create some instability. And so when we're talking about the difference between $5 million a year, well, those $5 million could potentially lure a marquee signing. They could get you a couple of depth pieces. They could go a long way versus right now we're just looking at it as, oh, that's the difference between having Terry McLaurin or not having Terry McLaurin. No, it's not that simple. So let me actually dive into this. So these are only the notable free agents. It's not all of them because, again, they only have, 45 players under contract next year. There's a lot of guys that would have missed out. But these are some of the notable free agents on the Commanders roster next year. Marcus Mariota, Austin Ekeler, Brian Robinson Jr., Jeremy McNichols, Deebo Samuel, Noah Brown, Zach Ertz. Laramie Tunsil is under contract, but it was reported after he got traded to the Commanders that after 1 year, he was most likely going to want some new money. He actually wanted new money this year, but it sounds like they were able to kick the can down the road for a year. Andrew Wiley. Daron Payne is an interesting one because he's technically still under contract, but the Commanders also have a potential out. So they could cut him, they could trade him, they could agree to a new contract. All things are on the board. I think all of those are probably more likely than just keeping him on the deal that he's currently on. Von Miller's a free agent, Cleveland Farrell, Dietrich Wise, Bobby Wagner, Jonathan Jones, and Noah Igbenogany. So if you just want me to subtract that down, if you want me to squeeze that down to the big names, Marcus Mariota's a big one. He's probably the best backup quarterback in the league. Deebo Samuel, Zach Ertz, Brian Robinson Jr., Andrew Wiley, Von Miller, Dietrich Wise, Bobby Wagner, and then Jonathan Jones and Noah Igbenogany, if you consider those big guys. But still, it's a lot of players that you're going to have to replace. And because the Commanders don't have an incredibly deep roster, largely because they did not hit on their draft picks for so long, you might look at a Brian Robinson Jr. on another team and think it's replaceable. For the Commanders, is it? Now, Bill, Corey Krosky-Merritt, has given us all reason to believe that, no, we can't ignore that. But keep in mind that we're talking about a seventh rounder here. If the Commanders hadn't apparently hit on a seventh rounder, which we don't know that they did or not, we're still waiting to figure that out. but it could be a 7th rounder being the difference between a loss like that being crucial and not. How about Bobby Wagner? That's a big one. That's a 35-year-old who's only been with the organization for a year, and he keeps getting strung along on these 1-year deals, but that's a big player. You know, Jordan McGee, we have a lot of hope for because he's fast, he's rangy, he can cover so much ground, and supposedly he's been learning very well during camp, but are you ready? Is the defense ready to support the loss of Bobby Wagner, not just the player, but the leader and the green dot on the helmet guy? That's something to consider. How about 2027? Laramie Tunsil. He will be an unrestricted free agent that year unless a deal is worked out in 2026. Marshawn Lattimore, Deron Payne also, depending on what happens in 26, he is going to be an unrestricted free agent in 27. Dorrance Armstrong, Jeremy Reeves, Percy Butler, Will Harris, they'll all be free agents in 2027. Then, in 2028, that's where you're going to see last year's rookies start to land their massive contracts. We already know Jaden Daniels is getting $60 million a year, or whatever it works out to be. Mike Sainer still looks like he's on his way to a big payday. If Johnny Newton can transform into that player they believe he is, even though he didn't amaze last year, he was a starter at the end of the year. He's going to be a starter this year. He could be demanding a big contract. A lot of your other players that you drafted last year, is Luke McCaffrey going to be a guy? Is Ben Sinnott going to be a guy? All these players are going to have to get paid, and you're going to have to start to think about that. To keep in mind, the Commanders drafted, I think, was it 10 or 11 guys last year? That's a large draft class. It's guys that you're all going to have to pay in the same year if you are intent on keeping them for the long term. Now, let's go back and talk about 2026. There are not just Commanders who are going to be free agents. There are going to be free agents from around the league. Let's talk about some of the big names. No name bigger than Micah Parsons. Do I think he's going to be a free agent? No. I believe, my honest to God belief, is he will get double franchise tagged by the Cowboys. And from there, I don't know if they'll let him walk, if they will convince him to sign a record-breaking deal. But I think they're going to make this slow and painful. So I don't think he'll be an unrestricted free agent, but technically, as of right now, he is. George Pickens will be an unrestricted free agent. And this is a weird one, because he's now teammates with Micah Parsons. The Cowboys are refusing to negotiate with Micah Parsons' agent. And you know who George Pickens' agent is? Same agent that Micah Parsons has. So how does that work out? Another Cowboy, Deron Bland, he's going to be a free agent. Trey Hendrickson, he's going to be a free agent in 26. Here's some others. Nick Bonito, Caleb McGarry, Amani Hooker, Tyler Linderbaum, Tariq Woolen, Cade Otton, Kieran Williams, Isaiah Likely, James Cook, Wyatt Teller, Jeff Okudah, just to name a few. All guys, every single one of those guys would make the Commanders a better team. All guys that the front office might have a level of interest in. In 2027, the number one name on that list, aside from quarterbacks, like I think CJ Stroud's a free agent, but you know, there's no point in considering that. Aiden Hutchinson, now he'll get signed by the Lions, but I just wanted to put him on there so that I can probably put him in the thumbnail. We'll see how it works out. But also because technically he is going to be an unrestricted free agent as of right now. Trent McDuffie, Drake London, Kayvon Thibodeau, Kyle Hamilton, Jamison Williams, Chris Olave, Andrew Van Ginkel, Mekhi Becton, Divine Diablo. Again, more big names, all of whom would make the Commanders better. They're going to have $288 million in cap space in 27, but they're also going to have the third fewest players on their roster. So how does that situation work out? And again, when we go back to the McLaurin saga, this is where front loading versus back loading, what becomes signing bonuses, how long is the deal, what's the average annual value, what's the guaranteed, what's the fully guaranteed. This is where all this stuff matters. And I'm not going to try to pretend to understand the math of it at an NFL GM level. I'm a stats guy. I'm an analytics guy. I've got a million Google Sheets with formulas, and I've built my own stats and stuff like that in the past, but I won't even try to comprehend or try to pretend that I comprehend the numbers at this level. All I can tell you is right now, what we're pining about, $3, $4, $5 million a year, that has massive implications down the line. And the Commanders aren't just trying to win this year. They're trying to win for the next 10 to 15 years, however long Jaden Daniels is the starting quarterback. So what does this huge cap space plus lack of players under contract, what does this mean? As I've said numerous times on this channel, it means the Commanders are putting themselves in a position to to transition to the future when it arrives, but they're waiting for that moment. What do I mean by that? You look at some of the most important players on the team right now are old vets on one-year deals. Zach Ertz, Bobby Wagner. Tunsil's not a one-year deal, but he's on a shorter deal. They'll most likely extend him. You look around some of the other players. Austin Ekeler's been important. He's on a one-year deal. B-Rob's on the last year of his deal. Guys who are all on these expiring contracts. So the Commanders have put themselves in a position where it's like at the end of this year, if we think we're ready to take that leap, if Bill steps up, if Ben Sinnott steps up, if Jordan McGee steps up, Dominique Hampton, we can push the button. We can move ahead. But if we think that, we're not sure about this guy, or maybe we need another free agent class, we'll re-sign these vets on a one-year deal. We'll bring them back, and we'll kind of keep not kicking the can down the road. It's the second time I said that in this video, but just waiting for the opportunity to strike. That's also why I don't worry about the average age of the roster. It's no secret the Commanders drafted poorly for years under Ron Rivera, so why would they have a young roster? Why would those guys be on the team still? I mean, think about it. Jamin Davis was one of, I think, only 4 defensive ends that made the roster last year. First round pick linebacker out of Kentucky who they converted to defensive end. Like that's what we're talking about. Byron Pringle was on the opening 53-man roster last year. And no offense to Byron Pringle, but the depth, the competition, the youth, it just wasn't there. So the Commanders have to rebuild that. That is why potentially this draft class, or maybe the one next year, I called at the beginning of the video, maybe the most important the Commanders will have for the next 10 years. Because there's going to be all of this roster turnover. They are somewhat relying on this system of using one-year deals to extend the vets so that the team is ready to move, but still not moving towards the youth just yet. But this draft class the Commanders just had, they only had 5 picks. You know what makes it difficult to get younger? Not having a lot of draft picks. They had 10, 11, whatever the number was last year, but they have 5 this year. They only have 5 next year because of the Tunsil deal. So they have their first round pick, their third round pick, their 5th, 6th, and 7th. They traded the 2nd and the 4th to the Texans. So back-to-back seasons with only 5 draft picks. You've got to hit on guys, and not just first, second rounder. That should be a non-negotiable. You've got to hit on the late rounders, and you got to hit on the UDFAs. That's why, if you ask me, who are some of the most important players on the Commanders roster right now? Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, Kane Medrano, Ja'Cory Brooks, if he makes the 53-man team, Tyler Owens. You have to get value. You have to get value from your late-round picks and your UDFAs if you're an old team that doesn't have many draft picks at all. And again, the same thing is going to be said next year. Not having a second hurts. Not having a 4th hurts. Now, the good news is that they own all of their picks in 27 and 28, but these draft picks, and also the draft picks from last year too, when you make 10, 11 selections in one draft, and that's the backbone of your franchise, that's kind of the turning point, just with where Josh Harris and Adam Peters and Dan Quinn, where everyone came in, and the team went from 4-13 to 12-5, and the playoff-less streak to go into the championship game for the first time in 30 years. That class has got to come good. Jaden Daniels could be an MVP winner one day. Mike Sainristil could be an all-pro. Other than that, are there definitives? The fan base likes Luke McCaffrey. He had less than 200 receiving yards last year. Ben Sinnott has supposedly had a great training camp. Let me see it on the field. Brandon Coleman moving to a new position, second position in 2 years. How is he going to adapt to that? Johnny Newton, I won't judge him too harshly for his rookie year, because it's not only his rookie season, a transition year, but he also was injured during training camp. So how is he really going to improve on the player he was in college? But now I got to start to see something this year. Dominique Hampton, you sat out a year, converting positions. Let me see it. Jordan McGee, a year learning from Bobby Wagner. Who's going to be a better mentor than Bobby Wagner? Let me see it. These young guys, I always talk about them as the most important players on the roster, the players I have my eye on for the biggest reasons, and there's a reason behind that. Sorry, I have my eyes on them the most. I call them the most important players, and it's for a reason. Got jumbled up there. But I'm talking in circles at this point. Point being, the money matters. So don't dismiss it like it doesn't. We can argue. You can believe Terry McLaurin is worth $33 million a year. I'll disagree with you. I won't argue with you about your opinion on that matter. If you tell me the difference between $28 to $33 million a year, assuming guaranteed adds up at an equal amount, if you tell me that's not a big deal, then you're totally wrong. Unfortunately, I mean, the money matters, and that's what I've just laid out for you guys. But this is going to do it for this video on this sunny Sunday. First time I'm looking outside. Me and my girl have been watching some TV all morning, reality TV, getting caught up in the brain drain that is Love Island. First time watcher, not like a big fan, but I'll give it a chance. But guys, I am going to head on out of here. Before you click off, please hit the like button. It does really help me out. Hit the subscribe button as well if you enjoyed. Go to the comment section. Let me know what your thoughts are on everything I said. And as always, I'll catch you in the next one. Have a great day.